Is 3 Ships really the holy grail of eco-friendly skincare? And what happens with greenwashing in the industry? 3 Ships is this female-founded brand that everyone seems to be purchasing at Target, and it is wonderful. They have these glass packages and these little paper containers, but most of their prices are $10 to $30. Everything is under $40, and they claim to be eco-friendly luxury. Is this too good to be true? Because when it sounds like it is, it usually is. So let's talk about where this brand actually came from, what the product claims actually are, and where sustainability and eco-friendliness does play in here versus zero waste, which this is not. I also personally love some of the products, but not all of them, so I'm going to break down which ones I do and don't think are worth it, and which ones are dupes for some very expensive luxury brands that have been going viral on TikTok. 3 Ships was actually started by 2 women, both Laura and Connie. I believe they were studying engineering in Canada, and they were looking at all of the products that they had to purchase, and they were like, why is there nothing that is eco-friendly but budget-friendly as well? Now, unfortunately, they were specifically going after natural skincare. They saw that all of the natural or clean brands were extraordinarily expensive, which usually is true. Products that are labeled as clean normally come as a markup, and they wanted to create something that was natural and clean beauty for a fraction of the price with transparent ingredients. I love that the ingredients are transparent, but also the sourcing, so where the ingredients come from is transparent. But as you know, I have a few bone to pick with the clean beauty industry, because when we say something is clean, it implies that something else is dirty, and there's no regulation on clean beauty. Yes, Europe outlaws like 1,300 ingredients and America only outlaws 11 or 15, but the things that are outlawed in Europe are chemical manufacturing hazards that would not even be available to be put in skincare in the first place. The reason that they came up with the 3 Ships name is listed on their website. They specifically said that legend has it that the fountain of youth was discovered not by some impressive fleet, but by just 3 ships. And they took that idea into their products. And I do think that they have done a lot of great stuff here, especially being a Canadian founded skincare line. A lot of their stuff is available in Canada, which is awesome. And the fact that they actually care about their product labels, especially the way that they print them on so that the packages can be recycled. Absolutely wonderful, but not 100%. A lot of people do believe that glass packages are more eco-friendly than plastic ones, but when you think about it, both glass and plastic have to be recycled. Yes, glass can be recycled pretty much infinitely, and plastic has a certain amount of times it can be recycled, but when you actually think about the shipping process, glass is much heavier than plastic, and so when shipping these glass bottles across large distances, the actual weight is going to add weight to the truck or to the plane where it's being shipped on, which is going to increase the fuel that is needed and therefore the carbon emissions that are output. So it's very interesting that yes, while glass is a great option, both glass and package can still be recycled, but glass might not be as eco-friendly as a lot of people believe. But by 2025, they want 100% of their products to be post-consumer recycled or biodegradable, which is wonderful, which also takes us into these little secondary packages. You see, they have 100% post-consumer recycled paper packages, and they are the first brand that I've ever seen that does this. There is Native deodorant. They do have like a very similar kind of packaging to this, but Native is something I've only purchased online, and this is the first time I've ever seen something in a Target store where they literally have these very aesthetic but eco-friendly packages. You could literally put seeds in this, fill it with dirt, and plant it in your garden, and it would biodegrade and it could sprout stuff if you got a green thumb, unlike me. But I think this is fantastic. The question that comes to mind for me is, how are these then shipped? Are these just put in a big, cardboard box as is, or is there some sort of plastic wrap that seals them in? Even the fact that they're cylindrical, I think that's really cool from a design perspective, but when you think about putting these circle cylindrical things inside of a square box, there's a lot of empty space. And when you're looking at tens of thousands of units of product being shipped from one location to another, how does that actually play into how efficiently we are packaging these things from just a geometry and volume perspective, right? And that does make me wonder, do these have to be held together with plastic, or how else are they being contained and shipped? One thing that is amazing that I think all brands should do is the way that they screen print their labels. They specifically state that they screen print these so these aren't like a plastic sticker, whereas a lot of people don't realize that in order to recycle glass, like from your spaghetti jars, you actually have to remove the sticker. From your kombucha drink, you have to remove that sticker. And same with these. I think these are like the first generation that I got, and then they've updated their packaging since I've been purchasing them for quite a while now. But as you can see, they make it really easy for these stickers to lift off when you're done using them so that you can recycle them. But with these, you actually don't even need to do that. This is completely fine to be recycled as is, and it doesn't pose any problems to that sorting process. Now, I think that from a packaging perspective, these are fantastic innovations. Are they perfect? No. But are they really good? Yeah. The thing is that that doesn't make them zero waste. The idea of zero waste is something cyclical, where a product or a thing starts, it goes through the system, and it can be reused infinitely. But unfortunately, when it comes to products, there is no such thing as zero waste. Waste is being created somewhere along the way. The second one person forgets to recycle, the second that emissions are being spewed from a truck that is taking these from one place to another. If you are trying to be zero waste, do not create products. There is no way to do it. However, there are ways to do better. Products are a part of our lives. As humans, we create waste. It is what it is. And that doesn't mean that hope is lost. It means we can do better, even if we can't be 100%. And I think knowing that and not striving for perfection, but just trying to strive to do better is so important. And I do think that 3 Ships is doing that. When you look at other, clean, green, eco-friendly brands, a lot of them are like Tata Harper. Tata Harper has some glass packages as well, but I don't think Tata Harper is doing a fraction of the things that 3 Ships is. So they really are winning in this category, in my opinion. But the question is, what about the actual formulas? You see, what's in here? Do they work? And what are they claiming? The thing about 3 Ships is, again, with this eco-friendly bullshit marketing, they're saying that we take out the toxins, we take out the nasties, we look at putting less in. Again, there's probably not toxins in your skincare unless you have like bee venom. I mean, Botox is a toxin. There are safe ways to put toxins inside of your skin, but a lot of this is just fear-mongering in the industry. And I appreciate that 3 Ships steps up against greenwashing, and they're very transparent about that. But I do think that some of the clean marketing is part of how they are positioning themselves in the market, trying to get people to buy them for that reason, even though it is something that I disagree with. Because what is clean versus dirty, right? Is coconut oil clean? It can still break people out. Lead and arsenic are natural, but that doesn't mean they're healthy for you. And that just goes to show how much nuance there really is. Now, when it comes to their formulas, this is something I appreciate. They speak about what they can take out instead of put in. When you look at a lot of their products, specifically some of my favorites that we're going to talk about, they have the 49% rosehip oil serum. It's rosehip and grapeseed. When you look at something like their clay mask, it actually comes with 0 water. So a lot of masks are like moist when you put them on. This one is literally a powder that you mix with water yourself. And that is wonderful because you're getting more product for your money. And when you're mixing it yourself, you're not basically shipping water weight. And that actually really helps from an eco-friendly perspective. There's also like 3 ingredients in here. It's like vitamin C, 2 forms of clay, and rose. One of the most basic but effective masks that we're going to talk about, especially when it compares to a luxury dupe. But from an eco-friendly perspective, asking what they can take away instead of what they can put in is wonderful. I do look at some ingredient lists, and you can kind of tell when a group of ingredients are bundled together. You're like, oh, I recognize that patent. Like, that's a patented molecule that is sold with a bunch of these other things mixed in, and you can identify that. They're not doing that. They're pretty much keeping it simple and saying we want these 5 to 10 ingredients and putting them in. Now, simple doesn't always mean better or more effective, but from a sourcing and manufacturing and eco-friendly perspective, the less you can put in and the more effectively you can source those materials, yes, the more eco-friendly it's going to be. And I think they're doing a great job with that here. 3 Ships is also doing something that I haven't seen any other brand doing, even some of the luxury ones. And they're actually being honest and disclosing where their products come from. They literally have a map on their website which shows where each ingredient from the product is sourced. And then on some of those ingredients, even a little bit about how it works for your skin, but where it comes from. Specifically, when you look at something like coconut oil, they say where they got it from, but also how it helps the community. This is like fair trade certified, and they speak about giving back to those people who are actually creating this raw material. And that takes a lot more time, effort, and yes, money, which is also why it's shocking that these are not luxury prices the way a lot of other things on the market are. Now, the one thing that I do disagree with is the natural component of this. You know, they say that they source these natural ingredients. There's no poisons in here. Listen, anything can be a poison, okay? Let's take, for example, lavender, right? Are you using it for the calming scent and for the color of something, or are you using it for an antioxidant benefit? If you think about how much lavender you have to grow to create a little bit of oil, that's a ton of lavender. Have you ever tried to squeeze oil out of a plant, a lavender plant or a rose hip? That is rough. Imagine how much acreage you have to manage and produce upon and farm in order to squeeze the oils out of this plant. So when a lot of these natural brands are saying, oh, well, we use natural rosehip and natural lavender antioxidants, think about how hard it is to actually produce that. Now, let's say that you wanted to get antioxidants from a lab-made or synthetic setting. There are plenty of ways to create antioxidants or specific molecules, specific oils. This means we can control how potent they are because we're not worried about the weather or about crop rotations and crop cycling. We can control exactly how long it takes to create them. We can check them and quality check them for things like purity. Whereas, if you're farming lavender and rose, are you getting bugs in the mix or something that could add bacteria and, taint a batch, potentially? It is much more effective and efficient to use synthetic lab-created materials like hyaluronic acid. You can get it from rooster combs. You could literally cut it off of a poor little rooster, or you could make it synthetically in a laboratory through fermentation. Being able to control that process and you're not killing roosters or damaging them in the process. There are many ways to be eco-friendly, and it's usually easier to be eco-friendly when producing synthetic or lab-created things. But unfortunately, for a lot of like the clean beauty movement, the idea of using lab-produced stuff just isn't something that they flow with. And it's usually because a lot of the clean beauty movement is, selling to the Gwyneth Paltrow type of people who believe in this clean and purity thing and are spending tons of money to do that. So while I don't know the details of their farming practices, I will say they're not the holy grail of perfect sustainable farming practices, but I do think they're doing better. And the fact that they're being transparent about this on their website, it goes a huge way. I do think especially for some products like this one of my favorites is the Refresh Cleanser. It's the Papaya and Salicylic Acid Foaming Cleanser. If you have acne, this is amazing. This is wonderful. But if they were able to source this salicylic acid from a synthetic source, that would be much better and much more eco-friendly if that's the goal. And again, even when it comes to some of these pieces like the plastic tops, they do disclose that you have to take those out and recycle them. Even something like this, it is plastic. It is okay to use plastic if people know how to recycle it properly or reuse it. And I think that they are doing a really good job helping to teach people how to do that. And they actually have little recycling bins set up in different places, I think throughout Canada, that promotes people to recycle their hard to recycle bottles. But usually less ingredients in means less sensitivity for people's skin. And it also means less bulk ingredients to ship and to get from all different places of the world and bring them together in a facility and mix them and store them properly, right? The less you have to do that, you're taking out complicated pieces of the process, as well as a lot of shipping of those raw materials back and forth, which is excellent. And that's why it is so shocking that they are so inexpensive. I know for a while they were saying that none of their products are ever going to go above $40. With inflation and the economying, who knows what's going to happen? But the fact that these products are literally, I found them at Target, and they are so inexpensive and affordable, it really is shocking. But that also makes us look deeper at the beauty industry as a whole. A lot of people don't realize that the beauty industry tends to mark things up 10 to 50x. 10 to 50x. That means if it takes $1 to produce, they're selling it for 10. Or if it takes $1, 100 pennies to produce, they're selling it for 50. And in the luxury beauty world especially, this stuff is rampant. Why do you think La Mer is selling their products for $300, $400, $500 when the bulk of it is petrolatum jelly? Yes, they have some seaweed extract. Yes, they have some fancy additives and eucalyptus oil, but the base of that is a couple of bucks, and they're selling it for $300 to $400 because they're slapping a fancy label on it and telling you a marketing story. Beauty has one of the highest profit margins throughout the industry, other than tech and some SaaS services, like software as a service. When you create technology or a software, you can sell that in an unlimited amount of times, right? But when it comes to physical product, there's a lot of stuff that goes into that. And when you look at the profit margins of things like cars or technology or even clothing in comparison to beauty products, it is astounding. And a lot of brands do take advantage of that, especially the luxury ones. And the fact that they are not gouging people, it makes me wonder how much profit they're really making. I don't know if they're making a ton of profit. And you know what? I fucking respect it. When you think about the base of a product, let's say it's $1 and you're selling it for 10, you still have to pay money to pay the chemists to keep the lights on at the studio, to pay the person who's making the packaging. If you're getting fair trade organic coconut oil, you need to pay to make sure that those people are getting a fair living wage. And that's why I'm shocked that these are so inexpensive. And I'm kind of like, how are you doing it? Are you just not earning any money? I don't understand. The other thing is that they do have certifications such as being Leaping Bunny certified, made in Canada, etc. That Leaping Bunny certification not only certifies that it's cruelty-free, but it actually pays for a person to do an audit. Someone not affiliated with a 3 Ships company to walk into the facility to look around or to check the paperwork and say, yes, this is cruelty-free and it's being done up to our standards that we have enacted. That takes money. And that's why brands literally have to pay to have this label or this logo on their products. Same with the organic certification. And that's why when you go to a farmer's market, you might be buying organic strawberries, but that local organic farmer can't pay to have the USDA certify it as organic. And that's why there are some products that are cruelty-free, especially if they're indie, but they're not Leaping Bunny certified. But 3 Ships actually went through that certification. And again, their packaging, it is phenomenal. It is aesthetic. It is eco-friendly. I'm very shocked that they do have such great ingredients. They feel good on the skin. Again, I don't agree with all of their formulas for my skin, but I would say a good third to a good half are some of my favorite products, which is what we are going to talk about next, because I also feel like they do a great job of making dupes for some expensive things. What brands compare to 3 Ships? I would say that if you're looking for something that is eco-friendly and transparent and actually delivers on the promises, like if they're going to create a boosting oil that is good for normal to dry skin and smooths out fine lines, it better do what the it says it's going to do, right? I think Juice Beauty is very similar. They actually own a literal farm that they are making sure it is organic farming practices and sustainable. And they actually package all of their things in post-consumer recycled materials. So Juice Beauty, A+. Problem is, Juice Beauty is also a little bit more expensive than 3 Ships. Another great one is Biossance. They do glass packaging. They care so much about ocean conservation, and they're actually made from a biotech company in Berkeley, California. A lot of people don't realize that Biossance's parent company, I think it's called Amaranth. No, that's a streamer. That's a Twitch streamer. It's a biotech company in Berkeley that found a way to sustainably extract squalene from sugarcane. And they said, this is amazing for skin. We're going to create a skincare line that is more eco-friendly around this. They're doing excellent, but if you've seen Biossance prices, they're $60 to $90 in some cases. And worth every penny, but expensive. And that's where, you know, with 3 Ships being $15, $25, $30 per product, this is the least expensive eco-friendly stuff I feel that I've ever been able to find that, yes, does actually deliver on most of those promises. There are some products that I absolutely love and some that I do not, but one that I do is this one. This is specifically an oil that is meant to soothe out fine lines and wrinkles. I only really used this during the winter in the past, but this is a great one. It has 49% rose hip, and it's also got things like grape seed. I think it has under 5 ingredients total, which again doesn't make it better. It just means that if you're more sensitive or prone to sensitivity, you're probably less likely to react to 1 out of 5 ingredients rather than 1 out of 50. This one has rose hip oil, it has grapeseed oil, tocopherol, which is vitamin E, and it really is basic but effective. One of the reasons I love this so much is because this is very similar to the Trilogy rose hip oil. I used to go for the Trilogy rose hip oil. It was in a glass package. It's like $60, but it was very eco-friendly, right? This is just as eco-friendly, just as effective, but this is $35. I find this to be very comparable. You can also tell from the color. You see how it's not like a clear oil? A lot of oils that are clear have been purified. Naturally, if you get like natural, like real potent olive oil, it tastes bitter. It's green because that's where olives come from. And it's not until things are pressed or filtered out that we get those clear oils that we're often used to. Now, clear oils are still great for skin, but if you are looking for some of those antioxidant boosts, sometimes looking for the color, if no colors were added in, it's a really good way to tell. And when you just look at this and smell it, like, it is potent and it kind of has this like greenish tinge to it. And that just shows, like, if you actually look at tocopherol, vitamin E, or when you actually look at grapeseed oil, those are the actual colors. So it shows that they're not putting in colors or dyes or additives to make this appear a certain way. And when you compare both the price and the efficacy of this to the Trilogy is still really good. I actually recently got it for sale at Marshall's, but if I can spend $35 on something that also comes in more eco-friendly packaging and isn't shipped across, you know, the world from Australia, maybe it's shipped from Canada instead, that is something I appreciate. Some of the products that I like but I don't love are things like this. This is the Lavender MCT Cleansing Oil. I feel like it's such a small amount. I get that the MCT is from coconuts, it's fair trade. I do think it's worth it for the right person. And while it's good, I feel like it just isn't for me. And I would return it if I weren't such a stickler on returns. This one I don't know if I totally love, but then I'm glad I tried it because this is something else that I can pass to someone else in the future. Same with their lavender hydrosol toner. This is actually, again, a good one. It's just not perfect for my skin. And it's because my skin just doesn't love lavender. Now, on the other hand, one of the best cleansers from this entire line is the Aloe and Amino acid cleanser. This is so good. And especially if you have like tired, dull skin, especially after summer, This is such a great one. I was actually asked to write an article with a dermatologist about the best summer skincare cleansers, and this was one of them. And it's because of the aloe and the amino acids that are nourishing and hydrating to skin, but then this has a bunch of antioxidants that fight against the free radicals that are constantly bombarding our skin, you know, from the sun or pollution or the environment every day. Absolutely love this one. Now, I would say this is great if you have like tired and dull skin, but if you have acne prone skin, this isn't gonna cure your acne, but this is like acne prone skin safe. This is one of my favorites. It's the Refresh Papaya and Salicylic Acid Foaming Cleanser. Mildly, very gently exfoliating, non-irritating, because again, they don't add a bunch of like fragrances or colorants in here. It's effective, it's affordable. This one is so good and it's not overly stripping. Now this does also have a little bit of licorice in here, so it's really good if you are more prone to like, you know, little dark marks that are left behind. It does have some citrus. It has, again, grapefruit oil, which is like, again, don't put the grapefruit in here. Like, why are we getting an oil from a grapefruit? It just doesn't make sense to me from an eco-friendly perspective, and then it irritates my skin, so I don't like it. But this is overall a favorite of mine and one that I would recommend from the line. Oh, another really good one. This is one of the best from 3 Ships when it comes to squalling. This is specifically the Grape Stem Cell and Squalling Day Cream. This actually reminds me a lot of Juice Beauty, because a lot of Juice Beauty uses grape stem cells and really good oils. If you've got mature skin, if you are looking for a nice fluffy anti-aging / graceful aging moisturizer, this is it. If you're looking for like a luxury holiday gift for yourself or for someone else, this looks and feels luxury, but it doesn't cost luxury. And I kind of feel like those are the best gifts. Like if someone gets me like a $400 skincare cream for Christmas, I'm gonna be like, why did you waste your money? But if someone actually thoughtfully went out and said, hey, I know cruelty-free matters to you. I found something that has this like eco-friendly packaging. I was thinking like you're a gardener or whatever, like you could turn this into something or do arts and crafts. That to me is so much more thoughtful and appreciated, right? Of course I'm gonna appreciate a gift either way, but I think this is a wonderful gift to give to someone. And if you tell them about the intention behind it, it just becomes so sweet. And I know a lot of the people who watch this content regularly, you are skintellectuals. A lot of people still struggle with their skin though. And if people come to you for skincare advice, if you know someone who wants anti-aging, is interested in grape stem cells, could use a little bit of squalling in their routine, this is it. And if you don't know about the benefits of squalling, we've done a video on the best and worst products that contain it. This is on the best side of them. This is amazing. And I'm so like, how does 3 Ships make this for so inexpensive? You see, again, comes back to the packaging. Look at how fun and easy that is to read. They make it a joy. And I don't see that from a lot of other brands. Another one that just didn't land super well with me was the Tea Tree and MCT Cleansing Oil. Again, this was good. It's supposed to be for more blemish prone skin because it has tea tree. It's not great, but it's not terrible. It's just not for me. I think I just wasn't a fan of like this cleansing oil idea. Maybe it's something to do with the MCT. Still could be good for other people. If you're more on the dry side, you might love this, but for me, I'm like, give me something exfoliating and my oily face will be happy. Now, hands down, one of my favorite products of all time from 3 Ships is $17. They have the Detox Mask and the Soothe Mask. Oh my God, both of these are amazing. From the eco-friendliness, like it's literally a powder that you mix together with water, but this formula is so good. It is so non-irritating. It works so well, and it literally rivals some of the viral products out there. This has to be probably my favorite 3 Ships product of all time. Specifically, the Soothe one is a little bit better than the Detox one for me. The Detox one has green tea and antioxidants. Again, a great choice. But for me, the Soothe one is rosehip and vitamin C. And it's this beautiful clay mask that when you put it on your skin, it sucks out the oil in a visible way. There is this mask that also contains, you know, vitamin C and like rose or grapes or whatever from Caudalie. Not cruelty free, extremely expensive, and you know, they're like, oh, it removes excess oil. You literally mix this together. It does the same thing where it shows the oil in your pores. You rinse it off and you feel so good. You could use this daily if you wanted to. You could just use this once or twice a week. You could put this on in the morning and give yourself a face mask while you're drinking coffee if you have that luxurious morning ability. And then you could rinse this off. You have an antioxidant boost to start your day. I love this so much. And if you are more on the dry side, you could mix in something like one of these oil serums to add a little bit of oils in there to modify it for your skin. Or if you're super oily, you just do it with water. Or if you don't want to mix in an oil, you could just use glycerin. Super nice and hydrating. Mix that in, or again, just use the water, depending on if you're dry or oily. I love this. Best $17 I've ever spent. I've purchased so many of these, and I will continue to do so. I have another one in my bathroom, and I just find that these are excellent excellent alternatives to some of the much more expensive counterparts. And the fact that they're very accessible, you know, Sephora can be hard to get to. There aren't a ton of Sephoras. I feel like these are in like almost every Target that I've gone to. Not every Target has the same amount of 3Ships products, but from the Targets that I've been to, they're all pretty well stocked. So the real question is 3Ships the holy grail of eco-friendly skincare? Again, there is no such thing as being completely zero waste. There are some issues. Again, positives and negatives to the glass packaging. Positives to the packaging in paper, but negatives to the way it's shipped. When it comes to the formulations as well, yeah, negative on the clean green branding and some of the sourcing, but a real positive on the way they are communicating it. And while I would say I don't think they are like the #1 eco-friendly brand in the entire world, I will say that for the price and for the accessibility in Target, yes, absolutely. Probably the most eco-friendly and intentional brand at Target, and probably one of the top 3 to 5 intentional brands that I've ever come across. Again, I would say Juice Beauty, Biossance, 3Ships, maybe Skincare by Hyram. I know that there are some issues, but like that line tries really hard and they actually donate, which I appreciate. And there's probably a few other really great eco-friendly ones that I am blanking on right now. But it is hard to find brands that actually give a shit about the environment and our face and are willing to put those principles and people over their profits. And as someone who literally runs a company where I put people over profits and I prioritize that, finding brands that do the fucking same thing, it's what I'm passionate about, right? It gets me heated because I give a shit. And finding brands that do the same matters a ton to me. So yes, I would say 3Ships is absolutely 5 stars, gold tickets, you know, great job. Some concerns, but when you compare it to everything else, there's no such thing as perfection, so I appreciate they are doing better. Let me know if there's anything that you've tried from them, if you liked or didn't like the products. I don't feel like their products are advanced, like I don't feel like they have complex formulas, but that simplicity also goes back to their transparency and in trying to minimize their supply chains, which I appreciate. So I hope you enjoyed this video on, you know, the economics of shipping practices and sourcing and manufacturing and, you know, natural ingredient supply and demand. Hope that you are staying hydrated, both orally and topically. Make sure that you are reapplying your sunscreen, which unfortunately 3Ships does not have one, and make sure that you are also being beautiful both inside and out. I love you, and I cannot wait to hear about your thoughts in the comments, as well as see you in this next video. And when I tell the f***ing neighbor to shut up with their blowers, I swear to God, Sasquatch upstairs, blowers over here, airplanes overhead. I need to start filming videos at like 3 in the morning because I cannot catch a break. Love you guys. Bye.